So I've determined that I have a cousin. I guess he's technically my cousin, but I have a relative that is pretty much conservative Stefan from Saturday Night Live. Allow me to explain. He's a weird fella. This guy is very weird. First of all, he has no neck and he's very wide. The neck is non-existent. Very, very wide. He used to be a bodybuilder. Now he's just... he's Punxsutawney Phil now. Ain't afraid of no lizards. So, I'll tell you the story of what happened because I found it to be bizarre and amusing. A few nights ago, I get a phone call. I didn't recognize the number. It's my cousin, right? And I barely ever see this guy. Like, seriously, I don't even... It's been years. It's been so long. And I pick up the phone, I'm like, hello? He's like, hello. It's your cousin. I won't say his name. Come outside, I'm outside. So I said, okay. What item did I just get, by the way? Did I get the compass? I did. So I'm like, alright, so I guess he's outside. Sure, fair enough. So I go outside. Sure enough, he's outside. I haven't seen the guy in years, and suddenly he's just outside my house. Like, completely nonchalant. Completely, you know, just like it's normal. Like, oh, okay, I haven't seen you in a while. So we're talking, you know, and we're having a conversation about something or other, and then he's like, you know, he's telling me, like, okay, how's the family, blah, 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 and he's like a really conservative, like, every day there's a new article about how Obama is basically ruining everyone's lives. So he's one of those, you know, it's like, regardless of political beliefs, it's so much that you just don't want to hear it. Like, I'm not a political person by nature. I don't want to hear it. I don't care. So I just avoid. Anyway, he then switches, he tells me, like, hey, he's like, this is the best part. You gotta come down to my cousin's club. It's called Push, or whatever it is. I don't remember the name of it. I'm like, oh, okay. And now, keep in mind, guys, for the past 7 years, he's been trying to get me to go to his cousin's club. And I tell him every time, I don't club. I don't go clubbing. He's like, come on, you gotta go. You got any friends that are girls? He's like, you can bring them. Anyway, it's in Manhattan. We gotta go. He's like, they got everything. And it's just like Stefan. He's like, New York's hottest club is Push. There's midgets. There's Frankfurters. There's Frankensteins. There's Frankenbeans. Everything. But the way he says it every time, he's got his own twist. And this club has gone through so many different names. He was, you know, Vin, you gotta come to my cousin's club with me. We'll get some women. He's married, by the way. We'll get some women. You know, it's called Status Quo. Or something stupid. Like something stupidly edgy. And I'm just like thinking to myself, I can't convince this man that I don't club. He's like, I know, but you gotta come anyway. I'll take you. I haven't seen this guy in years, and he's trying to get me to go to this club. Now, years ago, he would tell me all the B-listers that would come to the club. Right? This is where it gets good. So, I remember years ago, he was like, Vin, the club is great. It was called, like, Ecstasy at this point, or something stupid. He's like, you gotta come to Ecstasy. Ava Mendez. I'm like, who's that? He's like, Ava Mendez was at the club. Oh, gorgeous, beautiful. I'm like, who the fuck is Ava Mendez? So he tells me who Ava Mendez is, and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that's cool. I don't really give a shit about these people. I don't, you know, I'm not starstruck just because someone's good looking. You know, I don't know what else she's done. Is she a model? I still don't know to this day. I don't care. Point is, I'm not impressed. And then he rattles off over the next few years. Every time I hear about this club, it's got a new name. You know, Vin, you got to come to Spaceship. It's amazing. And like he rattles off these B-listers and like these models, and I'm just like, dude, I'm not impressed. Like seriously, I don't care, you know. So finally, you know, after all the B-listers, finally he tells me, this is the end of the story, so I'll get back to Zelda in a second. Finally he tells me the other day, he's like, Vin, the club is going great. It's called Fairy Tale or whatever. He's like, Madonna was there. And he was like, I'm like, what? Really? Madonna? I was like, wow, she's actually got talent. I said that. Like, because I remembered the years of the Eva Mendez's and the various other B-listers. And he's like, oh, come on, Madonna's beautiful. She's still gorgeous. All right, so he's not talking about her singing. He's talking about the way she looks. Fine. Fair enough. And then he shows me an article. And I'm not going to get into too much detail, but let's just say the article was not very flattering for the club. It was something about how Madonna was trying to, like it was just, she was telling them to stop doing something, and they wouldn't stop doing it. And he's showing me this like it's a badge of honor. I don't think Madonna's ever going back to that club, but yet it didn't stop him from bragging about it. So finally, he ends the night, and he tells me, oh, well, you know, again, he's like, Vin, if you got any hot friends, you know, bring them to the club. I'm like, again, dude, you know, it's not going to happen. Thank you, though. I appreciate it. Anyway, I got to get going. It's great to see you. I wish you well. Tell your family I said hello. So I get going. I'm heading over to trivia night. This is the night I did trivia. And he calls me up again. And he says, hey, Vin, are you still into Star Wars? I'm like, I guess I'm into Star Wars. He's like, you gotta come over. You gotta see my action figures that I custom built. He was like, I custom built Han Solo with a Bacta tank. And I'm just like, I'm driving and I'm talking to this man on speakerphone, trying really hard not to laugh. Like, I'm trying so hard not to laugh about this. But I can't help it. So I'm like, oh, okay, it's a Bacta tank. This is real. I'm not making this up. This is a real fucking story, by the way. So, I'm like, okay. So he's like, yeah, I got a Millennium Falcon. Custom Lando Calrissian. I did the painting and everything. He's like, oh, you gotta come over. You would love this. I'm like, you know, yeah, yeah, all right. Okay. You know, Star Wars. I still like Star Wars, and I do, you know, but I'm not that obsessive about it. And then he tells me finally that we got to go into business. He's like, we're gonna go into a business together. By the way, this man has proposed more business plans to me than I've ever heard in my entire life from one person, and they've all gone nowhere. But the one that he proposed to me was that we would go business partners, specifically to sell custom Star Wars figures. He's like, you know, you can help me make them. I'm like, no, dude, I really don't. I was like, listen, I don't have any experience, you know, making models. I was like, that's all you. I was like, if you need someone to, you know, like, deliver them, maybe I can do that. And I'm just trying really hard not to make this awkward, because it already is awkward. And that was the end of it. Like, he was like, oh, okay, you're driving. All right, I'll let you go. And that was it. That's my cousin. He's insane. He is absolutely insane. He's in his 40s, by the way. I to this day, I have decided not to go into business with him. You know, it just doesn't seem like a particularly lucrative field. My other cousin and I, pretty much, we always had a laugh about him. He's a good guy. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's got a good heart. You know, he cares about his family. He's not a horrible person. He's funny. You know, I mean, I've known this for years. And my other cousin, who was actually my real first cousin, and I always used to have jokes about the club. Like Eva Mendez. That was a thing that we used to say to each other every now and then, just to remind ourselves of how ridiculous this club thing was. But, I mean, the club is real, supposedly. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's not real until I see it. Cares about his family, married, let's go pick up chicks. Yeah. Well, when I say his family, I think I more mean his relatives. Let's put it in that sense, in those terms. What if I finally said yes and there was no club? Oh my god, that would be devastating. Guys, what if after all these years, I give him a call out of nowhere and I get some of my best looking female friends and I say to him, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's do this, dude. I'm ready for the club. Do you think he would backtrack? Like, cause he says he would hook me up and give me all kinds of deals and shit. But I don't think that would happen between you and I. Vinny, you gotta come to my club. It's called Erection. New York's hottest club is Erection. It's got blood flowing through the veins. It's got little white wooden soldiers. It's got everything. Vin, you gotta come to my cousin's club. It's called Fake. It's called It's Not Real. It's called I Made This Up for Attention. There's, what Electro Squid said, there's nothing worse than someone being outside your house saying, come see me. I don't mind it, you know, if I'm getting an advance notice. Like, Vin, I'll be by your house in 15 minutes. Great. You know, I'll see you in 15 minutes. I'm okay with that. I have time to put on some pants. I don't have to feel guilty for making you wait outside. Yeah, if you give me a little bit of warning, I am happy to accommodate. But if you're just gonna show up at my house, and you're just gonna say, hey, Star Wars figures, then I'm gonna have a problem. Because I'm going to feel guilty that you're out there in the cold. You know, now it's cold, but, you know. I'm gonna feel guilty that I'm making you wait while I'm trying to get pants on. Like, what if I'm doing something important? What if I'm, like, you know, what if I'm spending some alone time with the Bovins? And then, like, you know, that... No, you don't show up at people's houses. You don't do that. If I refused, I think he would leave, but... You know, this isn't someone that understands life. Like, this is a man who has not once thought about his own mortality. Not that that defines a person, but, you know... Like, I don't think anything... I don't think he's ever been anything other than a follower, and some people are very difficult. You know, like, there's some people that don't pick up on social cues. Like, I'm gonna show up at your house, and if you don't, like, show up, I'm gonna get offended. But he's always been like that. That's just how some people are, I guess. I don't know, let me ask a question. I am thinking a bit too deep into this. You are correct. But let me ask you guys a question. Would anyone here in either chat just randomly show up at a friend's house and then call them on the phone and say, hey, I'm here? I guess the answer is kind of loaded, considering in a way you would probably want to get to know... If you know someone really well, you might do that. Most people don't do that, but I see a few people saying, like, they might if they really know the person. I mean, you know, it depends, I guess. If it's like your boyfriend or your girlfriend, maybe you would do that, I guess. Custom-made figures. X-Acto knife. Hot glue. Paint. Maroon. Maroon color number 17. Maroon. Bespin. Cloud City. Odd-looking duck. The longer I'm stuck in this dungeon, the worse my commentary is going to get. Just be aware of that. Bespin. Lobot. Lando Calrissian's right-hand man. Lobot. Custom made. Custom made to order. Lobot. Dexter Jetster. Star Wars. Fucking hell. I'm sorry. I'll stop now. I knew I had to go back down, too. I knew I missed something. But I was too busy thinking about Bespin. Custom made. I'm stopping now. For real. Like, he asked me if Empire Strikes Back. He was like, "Do you like that movie?" Like, yeah, man. That's only the best one. Oh, that's good. I made Luke Skywalker. You know, the funny thing about it is, at this point in time, there is, like, a figure of everything. Like, he doesn't need to make customs anymore. He can just buy them. There's the Black Series, there's tons of different series that have been released. And yes, I just said series. I have an English degree, it's fine, I can do these things. But you know, then I'm thinking about it more. If he enjoys it, that's the best thing in the world. If you can find a hobby that you enjoy, and you want to share with someone, then who's better than you? Guys, maybe he in fact is maybe he has the key to happiness. Maybe deep down, like all his clubbing and his custom Star Wars figuring, maybe he knows something we don't know. Custom.